Wano okulira okw'omulugunya kwabwe kwakuba okulukubirwa ssabbiiti ejja era ng'ekiwandiiko ku nsonga eno kisibbwako omukono mu maaso ga munnamateeka waabwe Kalebu Alaka. Okusalawo ku nsonga eno kuleese akamwenyumwenyu ku matama g'ababaka bano era bwe biba bibagendedde bulungi, kkooti eno esobola okuyimiriza ekiragiro kya kkooti y'amateeka okugira nga bagoba mu Paalamenti okutuusa nga okw'omulugunya kwabwe kuwuliddwa.
Very important, a very big step forward on the part of the MPs.
Ebaza okubeera nga batufunidde olunaku olw'okuwulira ensonga yaffe lunaaba lwakubiri wiiki ejja ennaku z'omwezi nga nnyo ebisigadde bapuliida baffe bajja kubyogerako.
Ababaka bano bagamba nti balina essuubi nti bakufuna amazima ge babadde banoonya.
Ya ssemateeka ekkiriza okuwuliriza ensonga zaffe oba okujulira kwaffe. Naye nga buno kino tekitunulirwa nga kyaffe abaana abakwatibwako ensonga eno, naye buno gwe mukisa oba oluwendo lwateekebwawo ssemateeka nti buli muntu yenna atamatidde na kkooti eza wansi alina omuwaatu amwayitira n'ajulira mu kkooti esembayo.
And has managed to fix us in its busy schedule to hear our requests that the court stays the enforcement or implementation of the orders of the court.
Kkooti y'amateeka yasalawo nti bantu basaana kuddayo mu Paalamenti ensako yaabwe n'emisala tebaddamu okubifuna era n'eragira akasoko k'ebyokulonda okuteeka okujjuza ebifo byabwe.
Bo ababaka ba Parliament aba NRM baabulidde ekibiina ekibagatta ku nsonga z'amafuta nga batya okubagoba mu kibiina. Ssentebe w'ekibiina ekigatta ababaka ba Parliament ku nsonga zino Mawanda Muranga ategeezezza nti babaka banne batandika okutya okwenyigira mu ntuula z'ekibiina gavumenti bwe yaggula olutalo ku babaka abana abagobwa mu Parliament abaali tebeerya ntama ku nsonga z'amafuta.
Ekibiina ekigatta ababaka ku nsonga z'amafuta kyatandikibwa omubaka wa Rubanda Henry Banyenzaki kati nga yaweebwa obwa minisita. Ono bwe yaweebwa obwa minisita abaka Theodore Sekikubo, Muhammad Nsereko, Wilfred Niwagaba ne Barnabas Tinka Simile ne bakwata obuvunaanyizibwa bw'ekibiina kino era nga babadde basaale ku nsonga z'amafuta. Bwe twogerera nga kkooti yalagidde bagobwe mu Paalamenti era nga ababaka bannaabwe bagamba nti emberebezi kwe yava.
There was that fear immediately after the registration of those laws. There was fear in members that they would be victimized at the end of the day, and members decided to go on leave, to go slow on the forum.
Omubaka Mawanda Muranga kati ye ssentebe ategeeza nti n'empapula ababaka kwe baali bassa emikono okuzza obujja obwa memba bw'ekibiina zabbibwa.
The list that was signed by members was stolen, and when we brought another one, members feared to sign, and we decided to go slow. But now we would like to assure you that the forum is there and we would like to give the leadership. We don't know who stole it.
Abaka okwabulira ekibiina ekibagatta ku by'amafuta kyerokedde mu lukiiko lwa bonna olwayitiddwa naye nga ababaka babaddeyo babadde bamuswaba.
The purpose of convening this meeting, one, is to bring vibrancy and existence of the forum.
You can go with your chankwanzi, that is your business. But if you are chairing this forum, kindly, Mr. Chairman, let us look at the intentions of the forum.
Die when you are speaking the truth. The truth will set you free. Let the political interference not seal our mouth as far as oil and gas are concerned. I, Atima Anywa, I'm ready for that.
And I would like to give you the assurance that we shall not leave any stone unturned in as far as matters of oil and gas are concerned.
Omuwanika w'ekibiina wa Makuyu Mudimi ategeeza nga balina enteekateeka y'okuŋŋaanya obuwumbi 20 okuva mu bagabi b'obuyambi okussa gavumenti ku nninga okulaba nga tewali buli bwanguzi mu nsonga z'amafuta.
If you look at activities up to 2016, we are looking at funding of around 20 billion shillings. And we are engaging development partners.
Those who would like to sign, the list is here. Sign for membership so that the forum can start operating.
Mawanda agamba nti ababaka baali basoba mu 200 naye kati we twogerera abakeewandiisa okuzza obujja obwa memba bali 40. Jingo Francis, NTV Akawungeze.
Webale nnyo Jingo Francis. Parliament yejeereza Ssaabaminisita John Patrick Amama Mbabazi ku by'okubulankanya ssente okwabaawo mu ofisi ye. Ssente zino zaali za kuyamba abantu abaakosebwa entalo mu mambuka ga Uganda. Ensimbi zino ziri mu buwumbi 50,000. Wadde alipoota y'akakiiko akanoonyereza ku nsonga eno yali yejeereza Mbabazi, alipoota ey'abatono yawandiikibwa omubaka Joseph Sewungu yo yali egamba nti asaana agobwe olw'emivuyo egyaliwo. Parliament esazeewo nti yali omuwandiisi omukulu mu ofiisi ya Ssaabaminisita Pius Bigirimana asaana okunoonyerezebwako era avunaanibwe. Abalala be baagala okukangavvula kuliko eyali omubazi w'ebitabo omukulu Gustav Bwoje, Geoffrey Kazinda n'omuwandiisi ow'enkalakkalira mu minisitule y'ebyensimbi Keith Muhakanize, ssaako abakungu abalala okuva mu minisitule y'emu ne bbanka ya Uganda enkulu.
That the Prime Minister be held responsible for overstepping his powers by exerting pressure on the Accountant General, an act that led to loss of colossal sums of money under OPM. Those are it. Mr. Gustavo Borch and Mr. Pius Bigirimana be held responsible for diversion of funds from the Norwegian support to PRGP North account at OPM.
Mukulu Sewungu muganda wange alemeddwa okumatiza Parliament n'okumatiza gundi yonna nti kweri Prime Minister yazo omusango bwe guti. So Parliament kwe kumwejereza ku nsonga ezo.
Abakaba wano beefudde bajjangu nkwekule leero ali wano enkya ali wali kyobulanga era Prime Minister asobodde okukola ki okuyita ku lipoota eno naye nga nze ku lwange ndaba nti obuvunaanyizibwa bwonna badde ku Prime Minister era n'ensobi zino zonna zimukwatako nga yeki Prime Minister kubanga yakulira ekitongole ekyo ekyagendamu obubbi obwo obungi esente z'abanaku ne bazibba ne bazigulamu amamotoka ag'ebbeeyi.
Bigirimana Pius nga Permanent Secretary yali mu office eyo obuwaayiro bubaddemu bungi esente zaali ziva ku account nga teziri mu mitendera mu mateeka amatuufu. So bw'aba nga yagaliramu yasulira obuvunaanyizibwa bwe tetulina kyakola kingi okuggyako okusalawo bwe tutyo n'okumusindika mu bitongole ebina obukugu obunoonyereza okusinga ku ffe kye tulabye naye nga bye tulabye byebyo nti alina okwetiika omusalaba gwe okusinziira kubaddemu mu reports.
Tugenda maaso akakiiko k'eggwanga akavunaanyizibwa ku ddembe ly'obuntu nako keegasse ku bantu abalala abavumirira engeri etteeka ku buseegu gye likozesebwamu okutyoboola eddembe ly'abakyala. Bano bagamba nti etteeka lino lisaana okwongera okutunulwamu abantu basobole okulinnyonnyoka obulungi. N'omuduumizi wa poliisi ow'oku ntikko Jeno Kale Kaihura alabudde ku nsonga y'emu.
Waliwo yeko omusajja ayambala ng'ayambadde andawuya n'atambula
tekirina kye batulaga
era kumpi yaba ayambadde andawuya gwe wowe oyambadde akakomawo
anti be bamama b'eggwanga be batuzaala ebasinga okukyamya abantu
babisizaamu kyawedde era tusobola okupambula.
Kyenkana buli wooyita ensangi zino naddala mu bibuga emboozi ey'ekika kino yeeri ku mimwa gy'abantu nga waliwo n'abatakomye ku kwogera bwogezi wabula n'okutwalira amateeka mu ngalo nga bambula be balowooza nti bambadde mu ngeri ya buseego. Akakiiko k'eddembe ly'obuntu nako kavuddeyo okuvumirira ebikolwa eby'okutwalira amateeka mu ngalo ku bantu abalowoozebwa nti bambadde mu ngeri y'obuseegu.
Buli omu alitaputabu bwe ate ekintu kasa kibanga entaputa eyawukana mu bantu kitegeeza nti waliwo obuzibu mu tteeka eryo ne tusaba gavumenti eddemu eritunule.
Waliwo abatandise okukwata amateeka mu ngalo abawala baffe abakyala baffe nga mubajja muki engoye ekyo kimenya mateeka kubanga temukirizibwa.
Olunaku lw'eggulo abakyala okuva mu bibiina ebirwanirira eddembe ly'abakyala baalaze obutali bumativu ku ngeri bannaabwe gye bambulwa okuva etteeka bwe lyafuluma. Father Simon Lokodo nga ye minisita akwasisa empisa yategeezezza nga bagenda okutandika okusomesa abantu okusobola okumanya ebikwata ku tteeka lino. Gavumenti yavuddeyo netegeeza ng'etteeka lino bwe liyinza okuggyibwayo liddemu okwekenneenyezebwa. Irene Namyalo, NTV.
Webale nnyo Irene Namyalo. Bo abakugu mu by'obutonde bw'ensi beraliikirivu olw'engeri ey'ekyeyononere bannayuganda gye bakuttemu obutonde ekiviiriddeko n'ebbugumu okweyongera ensangi zino. Bano bagamba nti okutema emiti, okusaanyaawo entobazi n'okwokya empiira byonna byongera okulaga obutonde bw'ensi gye butyoboddwa.
Ensangi zino bw'omala eddakiika 5 mu kifo ekimu mu bitundu bya Kampala naddala awakungaanira abantu abangi, 6 ku bantu 10 wansi baba bakutte ekyokunywa naddala amazzi.
Era waffe wano katubeerawo mu kunywa amazzi naye nga musana gwo gwaka naye katusuubira enkuba enetera okutandika okutonnya.
Abalala batambula nago nga n'entuuyo bwe zibayitamu. Bangi obutambaala baba babukutte mu ngalo olw'entuuyo.
Ndaba gagozi, kapawuda, kalipshine, biki ebyo?
Gagoza musana just okwewala omusana okunkuba amaaso because it affects the eyes. Then the powder ya kwewala kutuyana. Lipshine ya kwewala emimo kala.
Abamu naddala abakyala engoye bambala zimusalankwawa. Ennaku zino kyangu nnyo okuwulira abantu nga banyumya nti ebbugumu lyabalemesezza okwebaka ekiro. Bino byonna biraga nkyukakyuka mu mbeera y'obudde era nga kitutte ebbanga ddene mu bitundu by'omu mambuka n'Ajumani ate kisusse.
The blow from the desert, the Hamilton blow this side. This is the occasion that occurs on the year.
Omusenyu ogenda okunaaba okuva mu baafu nga yonna eddudde ettaka ng'olinga abadde yeevulunga mu ttaka kubanga eddungu litambula likka.
Naye bino bwe bijja ne bisanga ensinga erina emiti, ebbugumu lino teriba ly'amaanyi. Abakugu mu by'obutonde bagamba nti Uganda erina ebbanja ddene ery'okulaba nga ekuuma obutonde bw'ensi.
Mu kukulaakulana kwe tulina okukozesa ebintu bye tulina tusobole okukulaakulana naye ebintu ebyo biva mu butonde.
Amazzi, ettaka mwe tulima n'ebintu ebirala ng'ebyo. Mu eyo meeting kyayogeddwa nti no ensi eno eri mu bye tukola eby'obutonde byatuwadde edda banja.
Mu lukungaano olwategekeddwa ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku butonde bw'ensi ekya NEMA, abakugu basabye bannayuganda okukwata obulungi ebintu ebibeetoolodde.
Okutakosa butonde naye nga tukulaakulana.
In Uganda, to process 1 liter of milk, you need 5 liters of water. To process 1 kilogram of pepper, you need 150 liters of water. How can we reduce this resource consumption?
Florence Alimba, NTV Akawungezi.
Entiisa ebuutikidde abatuuze ku kyalo Bukoyo mu disitulikiti ey'Iganga gwe basanze munnaabwe ng'attiddwa mu bukambwe n'ensimbi obukadde 7 ne zitwalibwa. Anita Namulinda ow'emyaka 25 yattiddwa abantu abatannaba kutegeerekeka.
Kigambibwa nti abatemu abatannategeerekeka balumbye Namulinda ne bamumiza omusu n'oluvannyuma ne bakuuliita n'ensimbi ze obukadde 7 ezaali zimutereseddwa okugula ettaka. Omugenzi era abadde alina edduuka eddene nga litunda cakala okusinziira ku mukozi wa waka. Mukama we yakomyewo matumbi budde nga kirabika ababbi bayingidde mu nju ng'afulumye bweru okunaaba.
Mama gift mwene omufu yaize ni mukwano gwe nga bava ku dduuka beira olwaize omufu yaida muno mwange yanasisa ekidomolo yajja yanaaba olw'amazzi okunaaba yalekerera waigule yano omwana omwange weoni omwana omwange yagairemu nga kumuvwazanga pampa biki ndowooza omuntu awo yakoze ki weyeyingirira oba yeyingira omuwansi kitana yamweteega.
Akulira poliisi enoonyereza ku buzzi bw'emisango Mafio 2 agamba nti omugenzi asangiddwako enkwagulo ekiraga nti baatemudde mutemule. Poliisi esabye abatuuze okugiwa obujulizi ku ttemu lino.
However small, or you may think it is a rumor, bring it to us concerning this incident.
Omulambo gw'omugenzi gutwaliddwa mu ddwaliro okwekebejjebwa. Guno omulundi gwa kubiri ng'abantu battibwa mu bukambwe mu bbanga lya myezi 3.
Mu mawulire amalala, Ssaabaduumizi wa Police General Kale Kaihura alabudde abatuuze b'e Kabalagala ku biragalalagala ebingi ebiri mu kitundu kyabwe ebiviiriddeko n'obuzzi bw'emisango okweyongera. Kaihura olwaleero abadde n'abatuuze bano okwongera okunnyikiza enkola eya poliisi n'omuntu wa bulijjo obemanyiddwa nga community policing.
So njagala
twekolemu omulimu tunoonyereze abaleeta cocaine okuzijja Brazil oba abaleeta heroin okuzijja Afghanistan ne Pakistan baani ne bazingiza wano ba KIU bafuuka katale kabasajja abava ebweru Pakistanis aba West Africa abaleeta cocaine ne heroin ate zigenda kututa wano naye naddala inspector n'okugenda wansi ku constable mweteese ababadde balina obugayaavu please you become born again, otherwise you are letting down these our people, you are letting them down. Ate sijja kukiriza to let down our people, sijja kukiriza.
NTV akawungezi katuwummulemu katono ddala tovaawo tulina ekitundu eky'ebyemizannyo.
NTV, turning on your world.
50 people, 50 days, one task.
An incredible journey of 10,000 kilometers to deliver a taste of home to Humphrey Kayange in London.
A journey you can be part of. We're looking for 25 people to say Twende Kazi and join the Tusker 25 on this mission.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me. Join me.
Join me. Join us and be a part of Africa's most epic TV show. Twende Kazi.
Kizibu nnyo okufuna ssente naye nga tikyanguwa nnyo okuzisaasaanya.
Kalonda nyambe ne nkusanga omanyi ndi mwavu nnyo ennaku zino waawo osobola okunyamba n'ozya looni ey'amangu.
Looni ey'amangu
tuli ku shopping.
Tuva ku shopping tujja Christmas.
Kiki kino
batubye
kintu kikulu nnyo nga bwe kitegeera ebintu ebyo bye tugenda okusomesa byebyo ebitakusomesebwa abasomesa abo.
Mu mizannyo olwaleero Kenneth Odeke ne Hudson Muhumuza katono bakubagane ebikonde olwaleero bwe babadde beepima nga beetegekera olulwana Sinzigu. Ebikonde bino byakubaawo enkya erugogo. Muhumuza azitewa kilo 98 ate Odeke alina 94.
I think a 94.
Muntu wa busingurivu simanyi Oluganda bandutereza bulungi naye nga muntu wa busungu otherwise ebikonde tabimanyi enkya ngenda muyigiriza ebikonde mujje mwenna mulabe nga njigiriza omwana wa modeka ebikonde.
Omusipi gwange oyo omusipi tasobola gukwatako omusipi gwange era ng'ekya ajje gakimanyi nti no agenda kwebaka bagenda mujjamu bujja buli kimu naye ng'agenda kwebaka talina kunkyankalanya gano matwale gange.
NTV akawungezi bwete bwegenze olwaleero mwebale nnyo okubeera naffe. Patrick Mukasa agenda kutandika enkya ne NTV ku ssaawa emu abatwalire ddala okutuukira ddala ku Sunday. Nze Farida tusinkane nate enkya mweraba.
NTV, turning on your world.
Program Guide.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here.
What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week?
I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell.
At what price?
More. Much, much more.
I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Because it's a Friday
Rather, thank God, because it's another great day. And this is Morning at NTV, and what a way we have prepared for you to start a fantastic weekend ahead. Coming to you live from the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop, and of course, where I am right now, a bird's eye view of the swimming pool. And you can see the activity going on there. People are already swimming. And today might be a great day for you to swim. Guess what? Borrowing from the words of R. Kelly, today on Everyday Life, we're going to do some two-step. The big story is definitely going to be big. Joel Senyonyi and Kasiate standing by for the press review, Mabel at the NTV studios at the International Conference Center, and you at home watching on your telly or online, youtube.com/NTVUganda. This is Morning at NTV. Let's get started with the question of the day. There you have it. Today's question of the day is, in which year did the jets ram it through the New York's World Trade Center? And the first 5 respondents of these questions will each walk away with a mag, courtesy of Morning at NTV. And it's a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. The energies are definitely up. I am dressed down for the weekend, and I guess you are also ready. Standing by at the NTV studios at the International Conference Center is Mabel with the stories that are making headlines. Good morning, Mabel.
Good morning, Bran. Indeed, I am dressed for the two-step that we shall be having later on in the show. Thank you all for joining us this Friday morning. I'm Mabel Kevirunji, and these are some of the stories that are making headlines. Parliament wants Bigirimana prosecuted, and they exonerated the Prime Minister of misappropriation of funds. The Supreme Court has set March 4th as the hearing date for an appeal by the 4 expelled NRM lawmakers, and ruling party lawmakers abandoned the Parliamentary Forum on oil and gas.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
The Supreme Court has set March 4th as the date will commence hearing an appeal by the 4 lawmakers who were expelled from the NRM party over misconduct and indiscipline. This comes as a huge relief after the Constitutional Court's ruling not only sanctioned the removal of the lawmakers from the August House, but had also ordered for a by-election in the 4 constituents. Maurice Ochoy reports.
On the 3rd day of attempting to secure an appeal, the 4 rebel lawmakers breathed a sigh of relief when the Supreme Court granted them a green light. This comes after the Constitutional Court, by a verdict of 4-1, ruled that the lawmakers should vacate Parliament and by-elections should be held in their constituents. However, the highest appellant court has granted them an appeal, which will commence on March 4th, 2014. This happened in the presence of their lawyer, Caleb Alaka. The court's decision to grant them an appeal threw the MPs into a fit of joy. The appeal will now stay the execution of the orders of the Constitutional Court.
It's going to determine whether or not the orders of the Constitutional Court are stayed. This is very, very important, a very big step forward on the part of the MPs.
And has managed to fix us in its busy schedule to hear our requests that the court stays the enforcement or implementation of the orders of the Constitutional Court.
Theodore Sechikubo, Winfred Niwagaba argued that perhaps there is a gleam of hope in their pursuit of elusive justice.
We come here to seek justice. The right of appeal is a constitutional right, which anybody aggrieved in this country should have the avenue to reach the temple of justice.
We are just awaiting that date, and the facts will do the talking in court.
Once the hearing commences, the lawmakers will be free to return to Parliament and continue to earn their emoluments. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
Still with Parliament, ruling party lawmakers have abandoned the Parliamentary Forum on oil and gas for fear that they could be victimized by their bosses and expelled from the party. The acting chairperson, Igara East MP Michael Mawanda, told NTV that since the expulsion of the 4 rebel MPs from the NRM, the decision has had a chilling effect on vibrant debate. Mawanda told the poorly attended General Assembly of the Forum that the membership has drastically reduced.
Parliamentary Forum on Oil and Gas upon its inception in the 8th Parliament was quite vibrant. Amongst the vocal lawmakers in the forum was Henry Banyenzachi, the Nene backbencher before he was appointed the State Minister of Economic Monitoring, Rwemiyaga County MP Theodore Sechikubo, and Roa East MP Wilfred Nwagaba. These lawmakers openly defied to toe the official party positions and demanded for accountability in the oil sector, shrouded in secrecy. The ruling party reacted by cracking the whip, resulting to the expulsion of the 4 rebel MPs. Now the acting chairman of the Oil and Gas Forum, Michael Mawanda, says there is a latent fear amongst NRM lawmakers.
There was that fear immediately after the registration of those laws. There was fear in members that they would be victimized at the end of the day, and the members decided to go on leave, to go through on the forum.
Manda also says a list of members who wanted to renew membership has conspicuously gone missing.
The list that was signed by members was stolen. And when we brought another one, members feared to sign. And we decided to go through. But now, we would like to assure you that the forum is there and we would like to give the leadership. We don't know who stole it.
You can go with your chunk ones, that is your business. But if you are chairing this forum, kindly, Mr. Chairman, let us look at the intentions of the forum.
The purpose of convening this meeting, one, is to bring vibrancy and existence of the forum.
Die when you are speaking the truth. The truth will set you free. Let the political interference not seal our mouth as far as oil and gas are concerned. I, Atima Anywa, I'm ready for that.
And I would like to give you the assurance that we shall not leave any stone unturned in as far as matters of oil and gas are concerned.
The poor attended General Assembly was informed that the forum intends to mobilize over 20 billion shillings to foster transparency and fight corruption in the oil sector.
If you look at activities up to 2016, we are looking at funding of around 20 billion shillings. And we are engaging development partners. Those who would like to sign, the list is here. Sign for membership so that the forum can start operating.
The forum, whose original membership was more than 200 members, has drastically dropped to about 40 members. Jingo Francis, NTV, Parliament.
Interesting there. Well, Parliament has exonerated Premier Amama Mbabazi over the misappropriation of over 50 billion shillings in the office of the Prime Minister. However, Parliament recommended that the former Permanent Secretary, Pius Bigirimana, Accountant General Gustavo Boch, Secretary to the Treasury Keith Muhakanizi, and others be investigated and prosecuted for misusing money meant for the Peace, Recovery and Development Plan in the northern districts of Uganda. Agnes Nandutu with more.
After 4 days of debating a report on the special audit investigations into allegations of financial mismanagement in the office of the Prime Minister, members of Parliament have exonerated Prime Minister Amama Mbabazi. Though the main report presented by the outgoing chairman of Public Accounts Committee, Wadri Kasiano, does not indict Amama Mbabazi, the minority report presented by Kalungu West MP Joseph Seungu finds him culpable for failing to oversee his docket. But the NRM MPs overwhelmingly voted to let Mbabazi off the hook.
That the Prime Minister be held responsible for overstepping his powers by exerting pressure on the Accountant General, an act that led to loss of colossal sums of money under OPM. Dr. Gates.
However, former Permanent Secretary in Prime Minister's Office Pius Bigirimana, former Accountant General Gustavo Bochi, Secretary to the Treasurer Keith Muhakanizi, among others from the Ministry of Finance, Bank of Uganda, are to be investigated and prosecuted.
Mr. Gustavo Boch and Mr. Pius Bigirimana be held responsible for diversion of funds from the Norwegian support to PRGP North account at OPM.
That the Permanent Secretary had to own up his own mantle, to carry his own cross, because the mandated accounting officer, who is supposed to ensure that he complies with the laws and regulations of accountability.
Babazi was let off the hook, but many MPs, mostly from opposition, think Babazi should have taken political responsibility for failing to oversee his docket.
There has been a minority report which was pointing out serious issues on the OPM. But for me, I'm not surprised about the way this decision has been taken. I mean, that's how we normally Parliament does things. People lose their conscience. They debate. If you follow the debate, the way people are debating is not the way people are now voting on the motions. It's unfortunate that at night people sleep and they lose their conscience and they wake up in the morning and they are thinking it's so different, not even on earth.
The report also recommends that the former principal accountant Geoffrey Kazinda in the office of the Prime Minister convicted of fraud should be investigated further. The special audit into the office of the Prime Minister was launched in late November 2011.
Mr. Pius, you are aware that on 19th you telephoned the case, did you? I did.
We now return to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to Brian, Joel and Simon for today's press review.
It's a brilliant Friday morning, the 28th day of February 2014, the last day of the month, a wonderful last day of the week. And yes, it's blazing hot here at the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel. Blazing hot not in the real sense of the word, but clearly in the sense that we are looking forward to a wonderful weekend with the usual suspects for your morning look at the press. Good morning, Joel. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a Friday. Yay!
Indeed, and the papers this morning are screaming brightly with interesting headlines. For you who love politics, well, today's Daily Monitor is the paper to buy. The NRM is mooting changes towards the election of parliamentary office holders. And this includes and is not limited to the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and the much coveted chairpersons of committees. Now, if you thought being Speaker was such a walk in the park, well, it's going to get even tighter. If you thought it was a very difficult feat to pull off, then you haven't seen nothing yet, as the Americans would say. It's in the Daily Monitor this morning.
You know, the NRM is the biggest party in this country, but for some reason they operate like they are despondent, like they are scared. This I would think is, you know, operating out of panic. They want to clip the wings of people like the Speaker and that kind of thing. So people are thinking, we thought you guys are the biggest, like you've always said. What is your problem?
So by behaving like that, it makes them smaller? Or it makes them like the biggest tribe in this country, arguably, which has never had a leader leading this country for more than a year consecutively?
I think they are reigning in...
Because we know that, for example, Kikuyus ruling in Kenya, the Shonas presidents in Zimbabwe and have ruled that country for so long. But there is a tribe in this country that possibly has not been able to produce a leader that has ruled this country for a year, a full year. So are we saying that there is a similarity between the NRM and, for example, Uganda? I'm sorry for throwing the spanner in the works here.
Maybe not. The point really I'm making is that they are clamoring so much to clip the wings of their party members, and that's not true necessarily, because one would think...
In my cynical question and example lies the answer. That when you take for granted your advantage in numbers, if you take for granted the fact that you are big and you not go in to plug the gaps and enforce discipline and cohesion within that huge group, you will end up clamoring to be big but having nothing to show for your bigness.
There you have it.
Very good. So there we are in the Daily Monitor this morning. An interesting front page picture of the police chief and the Makindye mayor walking in celebration of community policing, flanked by, if you don't look carefully at the picture, you may think a bunch of goons. But make no mistake, these are your musicians. They only keep uncombed hair.
Celebrities, so they are called. I want to see if any of them is skimpily dressed, just in case.
Well, Chameleon's children don't have shirts themselves, they have vests. Well, there we are. Recently, it was reported by this very newspaper that cancer had been declared an epidemic in Uganda. But the same newspaper is reporting this morning on page number 3 that the new cancer ward is lying idle. What has happened? Have all the cancer patients perished, or are they not seeking medical redress? Get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor and find out why the Uganda cancer ward is lying idle. Is there some equipment missing? Are there no beds? All these are questions that can only be answered if you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor this morning. Politics, politics, politics. Government and the opposition are in high gear discussing electoral reforms. 2 years the next election. What were they doing in the last 2 years? Well, government was busy finding its feet and living large as always. And the opposition, well, they spent quite a lot of time, walking these streets, walking to work. Was there any work they were walking to? One on the waits to see. But, well, 2 years were wasted. Now we are clamoring and running around 2 years the next election. And when the next election passes the way it will pass, then you start making a lot of noise. Why? You spent a lot of time agitating and running around roughshod in this city as opposed to doing what you're supposed to be doing, discussing these electoral reforms, at the same time going around the country to foment your political base. I only know 1 or 2 opposition politicians who did not get themselves involved in this town skirmish, but were out there canvassing for support and putting their point across in terms of ideology. One of them is...
one of them?
No. FDC, sorry, is here in the cities. It never goes down to the villages. Watch this lady called Betty Kamya. Betty Kamya, after losing the election, she concedes defeat and goes back to the grassroots and starts telling people she has a very unpopular standpoint, which is federal. I mean, you know what? People look at it as a Buganda
biggest undoing because...
Well, but you see, she's moved ahead to not clamor for it in the towns and cities and Facebook like these other opposition groups are doing. But she's gone to the grassroots and tried to talk to people. You see, they may disagree with what she says. They may not buy into her idea, but she's reaching out to them. In other words, she's increasing her brand visibility to the ordinary person.
As well, we want to see how it pans out, because at the end of the day, many people look at her federalism as one being very tribalistic. I don't know whether she's not bringing out the message well, but
precisely my point that you see, she may have, a kind of an abhorrent idea. But the way she's selling it is more like you reach out to people and build base. But what do we see with the other big parties, our friends in the UPC and the Democratic Party?
They're always in Kampala.
Well, now here they are discussing electoral reforms.
But you see, better late than never for these electoral reforms. I think we need to have them now. Hopefully we don't wait for 2015 towards the end and then we are trying to put things right. But
that's how we normally do it.
Now personally, I see the possibility of taking this. I would rather vote in 2021.
You're not voting in 2016?
Because I don't think it's going to be enough time to put these electoral reforms.
Well, they're only 10.
Well, if they are committed to it, and they agree, it can happen. As soon as they want it to happen.
Or there could be someone that will argue that the absence of proper reforms to the electoral system benefits both the ruling party and the opposition. The opposition members are comfortable where they are as opposition members. Many of them, of course, yes, they are earning off the state. We have leaders of opposition who, leader of opposition in parliament who lives more like a prime minister, has got a convoy of cars, has got them, all that paraphernalia. They are siphoning off the state. And of course, they are better off remain clamoring to go to State House as opposed to going to State House and they get exposed over the emptiness that they are.
And that's a mistake we need to extricate ourselves from. These electoral reforms, we need not push for them just for NRM or the opposition, for you and I, and probably, the rest of Ugandans down there. Because at the end of the day, as we fight and so on, these guys are living large, like you're saying. So at the end of the day, it is we that stand to benefit, so we need to agitate a lot more.
Is it the need to have these electoral reforms, or it's actually that, especially the opposition, is not doing enough work to get its brand out there? So even if we made all these electoral reforms, would the opposition ever get to a place where it desires?
Well, to bring it home to you in the field which you love most, which is soccer, you see, for as long as you've got bad refereeing, even the weakest of team like Bunamwaya FC playing with Arsenal will claim that Arsenal robbed it of a victory because the umpire or the referee seems to favor Arsenal. So you need to work on the refereeing to ensure that everybody, whether because there can only be one winner and the others have to be losers, so that both the winner and the loser have confidence in the process that led them to whichever side they end up, the losers or the winners. So that is the gist of the matter.
It should be level ground, because you see, even when the opposition loses fairly, they will not come out to say it was fair. Why? Because of the structuring of the electoral commission.
You've seen them since 2001. They have always lost pure and square, but they have always claimed.
Well, the other day, General Sejusa said that Besigye actually won 2001. Don't know how far true that is, but there you go. Sejusa.
Man does not eat politics, does not dream and live politics.
For the most part, let me bring it closer to where I have an interest. Electricity. Now, the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited is warning all of you who've constructed permanent, semi-permanent shacks and all sorts of crazy structures under the huge pylons and the high voltage power lines that bring electricity from Bujagari to Kawanda and other places. Now, these will be demolished very soon. See, I don't understand Ugandans. You know that you do not have to construct under high voltage power lines. But you go and take advantage of the empty space there and you build because you are looking at compensation. And when government is sloppy and doesn't evict you and 2, 5, 10 years down the road you start developing cancerous symptoms, then you begin to start whinge and whine government to Yambi. When government is trying to help you here by extricating you from this situation, you're busy calling it unfair and seeking for more in terms of
why are you letting people build under those lines, Kasiat?
In the first place,
and in this case, well, yes, you're interested in this, but why are you letting people, why are you being sloppy for 5, 10 years? Why?
They come out after 5, 10 years.
Why?
You know, like I already say, we are damned when we do, we are damned when we don't. When we say, we expect
the whip early enough.
We expect you Ugandans, now let me give an example of you, Mulon.
Now stop expecting them because they will not. When you expect people not to steal and say it's okay, we'll expect you all to be very holy and be nice, it's not going to happen. You need to crack the whip early enough.
I raised my hand, I did not. For the life of me, I thought Ugandans were people of sound mind who understood the danger zone to their lives.
Oh, now you know that.
Now, if they are the kind that need to be handled like animals, wow, you had it. It was not my word. I actually thought very highly of you fellow Ugandans that you knew what is right and what is wrong.
And by the way, they know it's not right, yeah? But at the end of the day, they will do it. Guys who thug and do all these whatever.
So that is a trait amongst us as Ugandans.
No, not necessarily. Among human beings. So not just among Ugandans or whatever the case might be.
But how come we have human beings in other places? How come we have human beings in other places who abide by the rules to a greater extent than
One is because the crack is, I mean, the whip is cracked. The laws are in place. They are enforced to the letter. I'll tell you, the way people drive here in Kampala, many times you wonder, is there a brain behind that wheel? Elsewhere, it's done real good. Not because, you know, the people driving...
When you wonder whether there's a brain behind that wheel, do you actually find one?
I don't know. Of course, the end justifies the means. If you see people running into brick walls and doing all sorts of things, and even the experts can have accidents here, but much of the time we are very reckless here. Elsewhere, they're not as reckless because the law is enforced.
Kasiate, now that you're at ESCOM, if you see someone building under this high voltage lines, get them off as soon as possible.
Well, let me just remind you that ESCOM is into power generation and we only stop at that. The buck now remains for Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited, which picks electricity from us and sells it to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, whose sole proprietor for the large extent is...
So distribution company is in charge of whoever builds?
No, Uganda Electricity Transmission Company
Limited. Who is the one in charge of whoever builds under the high?
No, he's the one in charge of demolishing those who build under
those you know what? It's the same. They are all grasshoppers.
They are all grasshoppers.
They are all grasshoppers. I think all of you from ESCOM, from UETCL, you all need to come. You all need to do this. That's how.
Thanks for the mandate, Brian. Now, I am not quite a fan of this dangerous folk group of people, but well, there you are. The Supreme Court has set the 4th of March as the hearing date. Well, they are called rebel MPs now for the description of a rebel. I mean, a rebel and dangerous is a thin dividing line. So clearly here we are. They possibly will return to Parliament if the Supreme Court rules in their favor. If the Supreme Court rules the way it will rule and they don't end up in Parliament, I do not know to whom they will appeal.
Do you already know how they are going to rule? You said if the Supreme Court rules the way it will rule.
Stop right there. If. The key word here is if, and you know there is if 1, if 2, and if 3.
So what's your basis for those ifs? You seem to know 1 or 2 things that you don't know. You probably tell us off air, not now. It's okay.
The Daily Month has got your interesting set of columnists as always, and of course your Friday edition has the Scoop magazine. Get yourself a copy and get to see what's trending. And of course, for those of you who are looking out for jobs, especially you who just graduated from Chambogo University, there is an interesting jobs pull out which you can take a look at, begin to learn job etiquette, work etiquette, and of course, find out whether your dream job has been advertised.
Let me
an
read this quote by
unlikely columnist this morning supporting the against the anti-homosexuality bill. You remember him, the former Inspector General of Government, Augustine Ruzindana, saying, well, we've got so many minority groups in Uganda. What's so unique about homosexuals? In other words, he's saying, he may not like the whole act of homosexuality, but he doesn't think there was need to enact a law to curb it. You cannot have your cake or eat it, Augustine.
Japanese ambassador to Uganda, Junzo Fujita, this is his comment on anti-gay laws. He said the issue and aid are different. In my own view, people are affected and they need safe water. So there you have it. Japan, China, and all these others are behind Uganda. You know, so the West can keep their aid as we've had.
What's in the red paper?
The red paper, of course, being so vocal about this. And I personally think that we are giving a lot of attention to, you know, homosexuality.
So here there is a whole section on the red paper. It's a headline story of an array of allegedly homosexual Ugandans and their story on how they ended up being homosexual. An interesting story. Did they learn the habit, or did they grow up and realize that at that stage when you begin to get attracted to somebody for sexual pleasure, you were getting attracted to someone of a similar sex?
Right.
Somebody made a comment this morning. With all there were some very beautiful bells apparently in this paper.
Yeah.
So with all these beautiful bells, how does a man go with a fellow man? We shall not mention who did ask that question, but I seem to see a bit of sense in what they were saying clearly.
These guys, this morning, you know, there was a story on the BBC, and it's homosexuals in Europe and America telling the media that they are going to be killed. These guys have been living in Europe and America for years.
And here they are coming
and they have
out
never come back home. Yeah, they went as Nkubacheyos, and now they are using this to lie to the media that we are going to kill them. And I think, you know, that's very cheap.
It's absolute bollocks. And we are going to have many people here from here going outside countries, like we call it, refugee status. Apparently we are being persecuted and that kind of thing. Many have played that card before.
An interesting story in the Observer this morning. I do not know to what extent it bears a lot of truth. It says the Owen Falls Dam is falling apart. But for the last I know, this is a 60-year-old dam launched in 1954. It's like saying a 70-year-old human being is growing old. Of course.
Well, dams should be built to last a lot longer than that. So they are probably.
Wait a minute. That is based on your assessment as a civil engineer, structural engineer.
No, as somebody who has done a little bit of research.
Now let me put it to you as someone who has an office at the Owen Falls Dam. Dams are built.
Is your office crumbling?
Dams are built to last 50 years. That's their life shape, especially the Owen Falls Dam. That has lived
the Owen Falls
Dam. That it has lived up to 60 years shows you of the people managing that dam and how much they are putting it to keep it abreast. That is in fact why the bridge at the Owen Falls Dam is now being reinforced with a new bridge that's going to be built upstream. The Uganda-Japanese bridge thing. So the dam
the Japanese are saying, for us we'll give you money. Hopefully we do not put
but
that money to other use.
Now you see, Kasiate, I'm going to go and research and
this
come
man
back with tougher questions.
I am glad
he shoots himself in the foot, yeah? When we are hounding him, he steps aside.
Like Molondo has capitulated, and I want us to always base our arguments on, one, research, the presence of knowledge, as opposed to feelings, as opposed to hearsay, as opposed to what our whims may be. It is important.
That into.
No. For me, I have done my research.
You are self.
Exactly.
I have done my research. Many times I've heard you say things that I'm thinking,
no, hound them.
Did you just
I am going to research and come back with tougher questions. But I focus on Ian Duncan, who is a manager, one of the hotels, and says he has no degree but lots of experience. And he talks about how important we think that when you get a degree, my child, you're going to be successful in this life.
So what is the chance that when you don't get a degree, you're going to be successful?
There's a manager.
Yeah, that's one. But I can bring you 1 million successful managers with degrees. You bring me only one successful manager without a degree. So clearly we should see where our chances lie best.
If one has a chance to study, I think let them study. But at the end of the day, do not rely entirely on that degree or whatever the case might be. There's a lot more that people require out there than your degree and your qualifications. You have students, that have first-class degrees, but you put them on the job, they're very lousy, they do lackluster work, and
the question is, what job are you putting them to? If you bring a guy with a first-class degree in pharmacy, he possibly will not be able to present a morning show like we are doing.
No, then when you put them in those particular fields. Why? Because they crammed these things and they passed excellently. At the end of the day, the practicals do not come through for them.
The sports section of all these three newspapers we reviewed this morning, the Daily Monitor, the Observer, and the Red Paper, is quite an interesting look at. For you who's bracing yourself for the weekend, it's interesting that you get yourself a copy of these newspapers and get to know how your favorite sports will be playing out for you in the weekend. Well, I think this just brings us to the end of our press review this morning, only to get ready for the big story. The big story this morning is coming up next, and yes,
it is a big one.
A bit of an exciting one.
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect.
Good morning.
How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you.
Your relationship with your God is the most important thing.
Have a company of people who have got a similar mindset. How do you want people to think, feel, and act after your talk? In other words, what's your objective?
You inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC.
The Ministry of Health, together with the Office of the First Lady and Kampala Capital City Authority, with honor, invite you to a public rally on the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV in Kampala City. The guest of honor will be the First Lady and EMTCT champion, Mrs. Janet Museveni. The rally will take place this Friday, 28th February 2014 at Kololo Airstrip, starting at 10 a.m. Stand out, participate, and protect. Have an HIV-free baby.
I was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was...
How? Tugenda okwebaka ekiro. Yanga mwami omanyi? Webakeko nange omulundi gw'ogusembayo.
I went to the nurse and I asked why. Why is it that our father is negative and for us we are positive?
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disturbed.
Mwayombye ekiro lwaleeta suzeewo lwe bakwokezza. Naze poza kimu nti mujja wange yanjokezza.
Kino ekyafa kino kyali kyakulira muno mu lubuto.
The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history, following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
I'm gonna blow your mind and I'm gonna twist your taste buds. The flavors are already coming together. I can feel them. Very lovely, very appetizing, very healthy. Remember, the way you see it, the way you like it, is the way you get it from my kitchen to your kitchen.
On the next episode of La Patrona.
You should have made sure that she was dead.
What, did you want me to go into the fire and kill your wife? I would have died with her.
That would have been the best thing for you. I have some very bad news for you. I'm going to sue you for medical negligence.
No, Senator. You're
not going to do anything. Respect her pain. Let's go. They've all suffered enough.
No, I'm not going to leave David with these people.
This is the Suarez's time.
You'll get over it.
I won't get over it just because you say so. But let me remind you that the woman we just buried was my mother.
Yes, I know that, sweetheart.
It's about time someone put you in your place.
La Patrona. You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
Yes, and we do hope you are enjoying your Friday. We are here to make it better. And now we return to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to Simon for the big story.
It's a wonderful Friday morning, extremely sunny and hot, and of course, out to give you wonderful prospects for the evening. And yes, what else can we discuss on a wonderful Friday evening like this one if we do not discuss matters very close to our hearts, or should I say matters very close to our bodies? And we are taking forward this anti-pornographic bill debate and looking at it from the perspective that we in the media have made it known to you and believed by you that this bill is all about the miniskirt and how indecently our colleagues on the opposite aisle of the sex divide dress. Is it for enticing us, or is it for arousing us, or is it that they dress simply to feel comfortable? Of course, the issues are quite many on this, but the law does not mention the word miniskirt anywhere. But it outrightly bans the exposure of breasts, buttocks, thighs, and all forms of indecent dressing. Now, I am putting this in inverted commas. These are not my words. These are the words of the Honorable Minister of State for Ethics and Integrity, the Reverend Father Simon Lokodo, a man who lives in total celibacy, or at least by his priestly vows. Now, over the past week, several women wearing skirts have publicly been harassed and assaulted after the president signed this anti-pornographic bill in December banning indecent dressing. With me in the studio this morning to discuss whether or not this is unfair and to what extent we've misrepresented this bill is none other than, yes, you know her. She says it very clearly. It ain't how long my skirt is. It's all about the mind. Good morning and welcome to Morning at NTV's Big Story. Shiraz Nagis.
Yes, Simon.
Shiraz is a passionate community psychologist with a master's in public health. So we are talking to somebody that's got quite her head firmly screwed on her shoulders with plenty of books in there. She's a poet, she's a playwright, and of course she's a media personality. And when she begins to talk about something she's passionate about, she doesn't stop. You have an issue with the miniskirts?
See, my point here is not that I have an issue with the miniskirts. We are here to talk about the anti-pornography law.
I'm glad you are awake.
Exactly. So it's not really that we're here to talk about miniskirts, but say we're here to talk about the law and the relationship between the so-called miniskirt law
and the
anti-pornography.
To what extent do you think that this has been misrepresented? Because you've read the law.
Yes.
And you know what miniskirts are.
Yes.
And how they are worn. Where do you see the merger? Because I'm sure this whole thing of calling it the anti-miniskirt law didn't come out of the blue.
Exactly.
There must be a similarity somewhere. Where is the nexus?
You see, I think it starts from the beginning, which is where the message has been made, you know? From the start, the anti-pornography bill has been known to be the miniskirt bill, right? And that's why we now have the miniskirt law.
And why do they call it the miniskirt bill? Why? Why did it start from there?
I think it's because all this came out of the fact that from the beginning, like I said, when the information was being passed on to Uganda, focus was basically exactly to the media. And remember, when you speak to the media, you're not just speaking to the media, you're speaking to the whole of Uganda. Absolutely. Because the media is now going to take the information and then pass it on to the rest of the country. So when you speak to the media, you're not just speaking to the media, you're speaking to each and every single Ugandan citizen. So the way in which the message was passed on, I mean, the anti-pornography bill was out there for everyone to read, then it became a law. Remember, it passed through Parliament, right?
Okay.
And then it finally became a law. But then the areas that were really focused on were basically just one. That area that you're talking about, a woman is not supposed to show the buttocks. And you know, the breasts, the thighs. And you know, Simon, when you look at it critically and you listen to it, it is vague. Because when you tell me I'm not supposed to show my breasts, my buttocks, my thighs, I will also come up with this question. What is a miniskirt? Do you know what a miniskirt is?
Well, at least it's not what you're wearing. These very nice tight denim jeans are certainly well put through. Your buttons are, are tied up to the neck almost. So I'm not seeing, I don't even have a silhouette imagination of what your buttocks, thighs, and breasts look like. But if you put on a miniskirt and you had this spaghetti top.
Let me stop you for a few minutes. What is a miniskirt? What's the definition of a miniskirt, Simon?
You have preempted my Simon Says, but my miniskirt thing is like a short speech. Long enough to cover the subject matter, but short enough to keep me aroused.
Now let me give you the definition of a miniskirt. A miniskirt, Simon, is actually just 4 inches below the buttocks. Right where the buttocks are, right? Sorry to get a little bit graphic, but I want you to really
I want to understand even what an inch looks like.
So now an inch is about 4 inches is about 10 centimeters. So we're talking about something like
this.
Like this.
Below the buttocks.
Yeah, right below the butt. This is a little bit too much. About 10 centimeters, about something like this, right? 4 inches. So when you get those 4 inches, as a woman or even as a man, put it below your buttocks. That is a mini skirt.
Exactly.
So I'm going to pose another question. These women that were harassed in the streets, were they wearing, during the day, passing around Kampala, wearing skirts that are basically, they don't even cover the whole thigh, you know? They don't even cover the whole thigh. So my question is, when Father Lakodo was coming up, or, when the Parliament was discussing this bill, and when they passed it into law, did they really understand, or did they know what a miniskirt is?
Let's stop right there, Shiraz.
Okay.
You led a demonstration recently at the National Theatre.
Yes.
You were part of the people in there, and indeed, from your description, I saw miniskirts.
Yes.
Is that the way you want Ugandan women to keep strutting themselves around the streets during broad daylight?
That's a good question, and I'm not here to answer what I want Ugandan women to do. I am here to literally talk about the situation when it comes to the anti-pornography bill and the miniskirt, and that is my focus. So that is exactly what I'm going to talk about. Simon, no, before you even go forward, let me now give you another scenario. The reason why we started this Facebook page, right? End miniskirt harassment, right? And the reason why we started
and I think you put the word miniskirt is in inverted commas.
Yes,
for the most part, people are not wearing miniskirts, but they are harassed for wearing the miniskirt. Now, let me just put it to you this way. Miniskirts, should they be worn and people strut themselves around the taxi park downtown Kampala or even in offices in town?
That's a good question, Simon. Unfortunately, you're asking the wrong person. Like I said, and I will go back to what I was talking about, right? I am here to talk about the miniskirt law in relation to anti-pornography. So let me just tell you my little story. I've gone back to
falling into my trap.
No, I'm not falling into your trap because I know what I'm talking about and I know exactly the message that I want to pass on. Now, Simon, a girl was seated on a boda boda, and you know when you sit on a boda boda as women, it pulls up. So she was sitting on a boda boda, and it was just right above her knees. So the skirt was actually not short. It's just that when she sat on the boda, it was right above the knees. And now everyone, I think that's like about 2 days after, you know, it was all flashed out in the media, miniskirt law.
And there she was harassed.
And there she was harassed and all that.
Let's look at the Ugandan side.
Let me first finish something.
Okay, are we saying that, do we think that this failure to appreciate that the anti-pornographic bill or law does not necessarily mean it's the anti-miniskirt me, is as a result of a voyeur mentality amongst the Ugandan male population, for
exactly,
example?
and I like your question, and it's, like you said, does not necessarily mean it does not mean. It just does not necessarily mean.
What do you say about Ugandan men? Are they voyeurs? Are they simply, perverts? That they will look at you, and even when you're wearing jeans, they begin to make a silhouetted impression of how you look like with clothes off?
I cannot generally talk about Ugandan men because I believe that each and every single one of us has a specific way in which we act, we think, you know, and the way we'll react towards what you hear. I haven't finished my point, Simon. I'm a community psychologist, and it's not easy to get into my brain to get me what you want to say. I will say what I want to say.
I'm having a problem with you.
Now, let me get back to my point. This lady was pulled off. They ripped her skirt off, so she's naked. And then the guy who was telling me this story said, oh, she had a beautiful panty on. They also ripped that beautiful panty. Ooh. And then after that, what happened is they hit her, threw her in a puddle of water. My point here, especially when it comes to ending harassment against women, on this supposedly miniskirt bill, is this is leading to violence. Not only violence, but sexual violence. This girl had somebody come and stick his fingers inside her private parts. Exactly. No, that's the truth, and that's exactly what happened. So I want to bring you the picture of exactly what it is down there. And it is not only violence, Simon, it is sexual violence.
And that brings me to the question I asked you, that don't you think, for the most part, these perpetrators of such violence are in fact voyeurs or perverts, for that matter?
Well, Simon, if you notice, just look at the trend of how many women have been harassed and look at the trend of who is carrying out this harassment.
It's certainly not a Polish guy like myself. Absolutely.
When I'm
even if you
sitting
walked in
next
here
to
with a bikini, I wouldn't really do that.
Exactly.
Even if it were under the cover of darkness.
Exactly.
Unless there is a negotiation. But let me ask on the other side, the flip side to this. I mean, you're a human rights activist, but let's look at men's rights as well.
Yeah.
Do you find a problem in finding this guy wearing very short, patra pants and having his abs showing through a nice, well-fitting vest and, walks up to you with a chiseled body, square jaws? Does that make you uncomfortable, that you are unable to concentrate on what else you are concentrating on before this person showed up within your vicinity?
If you ask this question to 3 different people from 3 different backgrounds who have 3 different ideologies to what people's rights are, and 3 different ideologies to what people are allowed to do, they'll give you 3 different answers.
I'm asking you with your kind of exposure.
As Nargis, with my background, with my exposure, I will not literally look at the person and say, why is the person dressed like this? Why is the person? Because the person has already made their choice, and their choice is none of my business. In the sense that...
Has it occurred to you, Nargis, that you are a very small percentage of the Ugandan population?
Exactly.
People who are as enlightened as you are, who have got the kind of exposure that you are. Here you are, your profile is so rich, you're hobnobbing with Belinda Gates, you're hobnobbing with Laura Bush, you are putting up shows in the USA, you are on TV, you have a masters from outside Uganda. Come on, you look extremely exotic, but you represent perhaps less than 1% of the Ugandan population. So what can be done to the Ugandan population to put them to the level where they begin to appreciate that the human body is a temple of somebody and it's not a sex object?
That is going to take time, Simon. It's a process, because who we are today is based on where we grew up, how we grew up, right? So that's going to be a process. It's actually going to take time. You cannot have all members of a specific community at the same point, at the same line, especially if each and every single member has grown up at a different time, or each and every single member has a different experience about life. So that is going to take a process. Exactly. But in line with it taking a process, that also begins with strategies that have been laid out by a government, by a society, by a church, by even the media. It is a strategy, which means there are specific lines that need to be followed. You don't just wake up in the morning, Simon Kasiat, and you decide you're going to come up with a law for the media. No. There is pre-testing. There is critically look at your community and see. If I come out with this anti-pornography bill and I strictly focus on miniskirts, why don't they focus on the newspapers that are out there that have pornography? Why don't they focus? That is in the bill as well. Exactly, but why isn't the focus on those? It is in the law. It's not sensational.
It doesn't sell newspapers.
No, that is an excuse, because a law is supposed to promote equality to a certain level and not gender discrimination, Simon.
When you look at this law, you've read it, I'm very sure.
Yes, I have.
Isn't it about time that Uganda had such a law? Or did we have our priorities upside down?
I think the anti-pornography, for my own thought, is that there are certain clauses as a Ugandan where the anti-pornography law is not, I don't think it was meant to be harmful. I really think that the thoughts as it was worked on is probably to promote morality and stuff. But in coming up with such a law, you also need to make sure that your messaging, what are you talking about in that law? So it's an issue of packaging. It is the packaging of that message. The substance is good, but the form in which the substance is packaged. And it is vague. The law is vague because it is not specific,
Almost
Simon.
every law that I know is extremely vague.
This
That's
one
why we
is
have
extremely vague.
all sorts of arguments in the course of law. But let me get you down to this clip that's made you extremely famous in the last couple of days. You said it ain't how long. It ain't
how long or short my skirt is. It's in the mind.
It's in the mind. For most people who watched that clip, and your colleagues and the ladies in there with the dreadlocks and with all these colored bling and all that, many people were asking, but who grew these girls? What kind of girls are these? And these are not the typical Ugandan women we want to look at. Don't you get a lot of this sentiment coming towards you that you don't possibly represent the fiber of the typical Ugandan woman? Perhaps you're too exposed, or perhaps you're too outspoken, or perhaps you're just simply out there. You're something else other than Uganda. It doesn't bother you?
It doesn't bother me at all. You know why? Because those are stereotypes, Simon. And for a country to develop, we need to come beyond that point whereby we're looking at people and saying this one does not look Ugandan. What is being Ugandan? Is it causing those sexual harassment to those girls there? Is that what Ugandan is?
Being quiet,
no.
being there henpecked,
Uganda,
wearing long clothes,
Uganda,
gomesi, eating matoke.
Simon, Uganda is not made up of one person. Uganda is made up of specific individuals. The citizens in this country are not the same. That is why even when writing that law, the way in which the message was passed, they should have thought about it. Like I said, talking to Kasiate is not the same way you're going to talk to somebody in Chiseka.
Absolutely. So it's about tolerance of the different groups of people.
Exactly.
I will put you off our script today and ask you just one final question. Anti-homosexuality bill, or law for that matter. These are different people from the most of Ugandans think. do you think this group of people should be tolerated and there shouldn't be any legislation to hound them and put them in prison for life?
I'm very good that you mentioned, while asking me that question, Simon, that you're going to put me off the script.
Absolutely.
Because I'm here not to discuss the anti-homosexuality law bill. And I will not, Simon, I will not talk about it because that is not what I came here to discuss.
But let's assume now the cameras were off and we're going to have this band about homosexuality. What would your views be? Is Uganda extremely homophobic in your view?
In my view is left for me alone.
Share it with me.
And like I said, I know you're really interested in finding out more about what I think about the anti-homosexuality bill. And as a community psychologist. But even as a community psychologist and a person that has come here to talk about the anti-pornography bill, I do not think I'm in position to comment on the anti-homosexuality bill. I think that is a discussion for another time, and I would be very happy to come back if you want to have me back here.
For those of you who are in communication, I think these are some of the skills you need to pick up, that you must always keep your focus on, keep your finger on the pulse. And for those of you who are in my position at any point in your life to ask the questions, you better choose your guests very carefully. We'll be right back with Simon Says. You crazy girl. Well, like I said earlier on, some people always argue that the best of speeches is like a miniskirt. Long enough to cover the subject matter, but short enough to keep you aroused. Now, with all this discussion about the miniskirt, the anti-miniskirt, the pornography and the anti-pornography law, or thereabout, the million-dollar question is, when we look at a miniskirt, when we look at our sisters, our mothers, or any person in the female realm, dressed the way they are dressed, comfortable the way they are, what goes in our mind? Do we think that they dress to impress upon us? Do we think that they dress to cover the subject matter but keep we, the onlookers, aroused? Now, in my view, there must be some level of accommodation, that people have the right to be the way they be or to dress the way they want to dress. However, even as you dress the way you want to dress or be the way you want to be, which is within your right, you must be cognizant of the fact that the enjoyment of your right is not absolute. The enjoyment of your right can only be successful if you're cognizant of the rights of others. Now, I do not know whether someone enjoys the right not to be aroused. That's the million-dollar question that my lawyer friends can only ask. But for me, it's enjoy your rights, fair enough, but be cognizant of the fact that there are others within your space who also need to enjoy their rights. So dress decently and not put onto yourself the tag of being mistreated by those who take the law into their hands, those who do not fit the description of gentlemen. Have a wonderful morning. Morning at NTV continues with better programming. You don't have to move away, and you shouldn't move away.
Soon on NTV.
Many generations ago, the warrior Apoena from the Karaway tribe fell in love with young Antonia. When they returned to the Araguaia River with the young white girl carrying their child, they awoke Iaru's hatred. Raised away from the curse, Solano Rangel, the last descendant of Antonia and Apoena, returns to uncover his roots, but he couldn't resist Estella's charm. But she keeps a secret in the past. Estella. Her real name is Estrella Karu, and her destiny is to fulfill the curse. Destiny River.
Coming soon on NTV.
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect.
Good morning.
How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you.
Your relationship with your God is the most important thing.
Have a company of people who have got a similar mindset.
How do you want people to think, feel, and act after your talk? In other words, what's your objective?
You inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. and we are HTC.
The Ministry of Health, together with the Office of the First Lady and Kampala Capital City Authority, with honor, invite you to a public rally on the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV in Kampala City. The guest of honor will be the First Lady and EMTCT champion, Mrs. Janet Museveni. The rally will take place this Friday, 28th February 2014 at Kololo Airstrip, starting at 10 a.m. Stand out, participate, and protect. Have an HIV-free baby.
You don't have any way to prove it, darling.
Andre Gurgel oversaw all the steps of my designs.
You mean you spent the very last of the money I had in this country? Now how am I supposed to get myself out of the mess you put me in, you imbecile?
Can't imagine what else you would possibly have to say to me about Leonardo.
No, I wanted to talk to you about Armando.
Well, I'm sure they truly care for each other. It's easy for anyone to see that. And besides, they've been together for a very long time now.
Want to have lunch?
I do, but I need to wake up first. It's too early to think about lunch. I didn't even have breakfast yet.
Listen to me, Horatio Cortez. And you learn that no man will ever dump me.
I'm gonna blow your mind and I'm gonna twist your taste buds. The flavors are already coming together. I can feel them. Very lovely, very appetizing, very healthy. Remember, the way you see it, the way you like it, is the way you get it from my kitchen to your kitchen.
I was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was...
How? Tugenda okwebaka ekiro. Yanga mwami omanyi? Webakeko nange omulundi gw'ogusembayo.
I went to the nurse and I asked why. Why is it that our father is negative and for us we are positive?
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disturbed.
Mwayombye ekiro lwaleero tasuzeewo lwe bakwokezza. Nazeepoza kimu nti mujja wange yanjokezza.
Kino ekyafa kino kyali kyakulira muno mu lubuto. The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history, following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
On the next episode of
Everybody's here.
Hey, Stacey, how was training today?
Oh, it was good. It was good. You know, I didn't think I was in such good shape.
Stacey, I told you to write a big fat check.
Look. And that's about all.
Don't sleep, though. My wife's in incredible shape. She lifts fat babies all day.
Okay, all I'm saying is that I was the cheerleader, I was the track star, and the homecoming queen, yeah.
You know, Tasha, believe it or not, your sister has brains and stamina.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna finish that race in an hour.
Wait, what'd you say?
60 minutes.
What'd you say? I can't hear you. What?
60 minutes.
How fast are you running that race?
I'm gonna run the race in 55 minutes.
Why are you in my ear?
What?
a wife who you got through the office will be very insecure about you working in another place.
Always hunt up, don't hunt down.
You mean what? Go after your superior?
How dare you suggest that when a woman is aggressed against, we should look at the person who's been aggressed against?
Let the couple be. Let them sort out their issues. When they need you, then you come in.
Prostitution is being given a new brand.
All I know is that I connect people.
Some call it skinny dipping, others call it chitwe.
If it's a principle for you, then the cookie should not hold you hostage. Let's not choose to open our zips and do whatever our urge is, because I don't think that an urge is stronger than your will to say no.
People attach a lot of questions, shame to HIV.
I do not believe that when you wear a short dress, you should be around.
Marrying a wife is like having assured sex.
Anytime you come, you must have.
Yes.
To raise a population that has no clue how to be men.
Can you bring out a quality family?
I don't get married for my family.
Men, every Wednesday only on NTV.
Oluvannyuma lwa lutalo abaana bangi batwalibwa ab'ekika era bulala basigadde
abamu bajja ne babakima
era twagenda mu Lukola eyo nakasongola mu Buluri twagenda mu Butale babalaaro okubuuza omwana oyo mumanyi
nti mukwate obutonde obwekonkome mukwate obutonde bwa Ebola mubuteeke mu nsigo omuzungu ayogedde Parliamentary buyise bosi basajja
omulembe guno gutuusemu n'abantu n'entondo kati waliwo n'emyaka egy'entondo
waliwo yakiŋŋamba
bamugamba muŋŋambe bulungi kati munkwate empola
dokita buli akwata bayibuli eno ajja kusomera bintu nga ye bw'alowooza. For example, waliwo controversy yaliwo
tobeera mu ssuuti ate n'oteeka mu gganduula
olina kubeerako kimu
kubanga nkusomesezza tumaze emyaka 2 tusomesa bannayuganda eddembe lyammwe mulimanyi oluusi n'obusobozi obulina
nakulabira abaganda baagala kabaka
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo.
As my friend Peter in our social media department would say, I look dapper this morning, innit? And very soon you'll find out why I am dressed the way I am. Yes, it's only 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're here at the Kampala Serena rooftop. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a Friday, though I've gotten a bit official. And I'm telling you, what is prepared for you ahead is going to be awesome. Now, looking onto our Facebook page, which is Morning at NTV, and of course, you can go there and like it. Currently, we are 7,863 people that like the page. You can also go there, like the page, and invite your friends to like it. Some of your feedback before the break, we had Nargis Shirazi in on the big story with Simon Kasiate, and of course they were looking at the anti-pornography law, which has been misunderstood as the miniskirt law. And of course people are being undressed in town, and a couple of comments that you gave us. And of course, if you notice very carefully, I'm using the HTC One Max, proudly brought to you from the HTC hub at Forest Mall. Prince Ntare Ahmed says, I think that this is totally fake, because now it's like ladies in Uganda have no respect. Why don't you just give them freedom? I mean, the mothers that we need to respect themselves for God and my country. And Tamia Queen, it's not good to undress us, but we should also learn to adjust according to occasions and just when, where, and how to dress. Because at the end of the day, we should carry up this head, and we should use it for what it's supposed to be used for. Undressing ladies is not wise, but ladies should now adjust to the law because there are still decent clothing to use. You need to style up, and that is Emmanuel John Namasa, who is reacting to the Anti-Pornography Act that is now law. Of course, Simon Kasiata was engaged in Nargis, who is a woman activist, and on that subject was they were deliberating on why it's happening. And of course, someone there saying Nargis was very angry. Of course, she's angry. Any sane person would be angry to a point of not just undressing women,
to a point now of sexually molesting women. Of course, this and more, Mabel will be giving us some of your feedback. Go to Morning at NTV on Twitter. You can also send your SMS to 6565. If you're leaving your house, if you have a meeting that you're going to catch this Friday morning, coming up, your traffic report. And of course, right now it's 8 after 8, and you can please check out Chintu Road here at the Serena. You can, if I can just have that image up, Chintu Road is there. You can see the traffic is going steadily and slowly, and if you're making your way to the Crested Towers, if you're making your way to the MTN House, if you're making your way to Parliament, if you're making your way to President's Office, the Twin Towers, you can see over there that some of the traffic is really steady. The traffic officers are doing a brilliant job. Now, when we head over to the photos that you sent us, we have a photo that came in from Herbert, and he gave us a picture of Ginger Road as it was about 15 minutes ago. And you can see, business going on as usual. And we have Morris, who somehow is always at Fairway. I guess that's where he works. Morris, thank you so much. Also sending us a picture of around golf course, the golf course at Chitante, and the traffic was quite heavy. And you can also be a traffic reporter. You can send that picture to Morning at NTV, that is our Facebook page, and also tweet it at Morning at NTV. Feel free to tag us at MBGold2, at Mebkep, at Joel Senyonyi, at Daka Bachigongo, at Charles Senagide, or you can WhatsApp to this number 04716 Now today is someone's birthday, and you're born on the day when Brian is wearing a bow tie, just like Kasiate. Let's head over to Mabel, standing by at the NTV studios at the International Conference Center with your birthday wishes.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much, Brian. And I'm just wondering what could be better than having your birthday on a Friday on the last day of the month, on the 28th of February. I think you need to give extra thanks to God that you were not born on the 29th of a leap year. Well, today we join Belinda Nasasira, who is a student at UCU, as she celebrates her birthday. We would also like to send our best wishes to Olivia Chomgisha, who works with NFT Consult, and engineer Nancha Prona, who is a student at Makerere University. Have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Now, moving on to our Facebook page, like you can see, we always have fun here. A picture of Brian, Simon, and myself just having fun because it's Friday. So do let us know what your thoughts are. But to some of your messages here, this is mainly about the big story. Divine says, character is what makes a good decision. Instead of harassing ladies with miniskirts, I think it is better to teach them the goodness of decency if one is equipped and transformed. Amos Hosea, interesting names, Bible names, I imagine. Every time I see Lokodo and the reset who made that miniskirt law, I see perverts walking, and he feels pity for their wives. Interesting. Emmanuel John says, in enjoying your rights, you should not disorganize others. That's why the law is there. It is not wise to undress ladies, but it is simple that they should adjust after the law. They are decent clothes to use. Simon, why is she not answering the questions? I will agree that the psychologist was very interesting there. Andrew Mwanga says, guys, don't mention the word miniskirt because it does not feature in the law. Mukama here says, ladies, just dress decently. Put on the right clothes at the right time in the right place. The problem with many young ladies, they wear wrong, calling it fashion. And we have Simon Kasuja who says, Simon, we relate the miniskirt issue to gender sensitivity. Andrew Mwanga says, Simon, Joel, Mebo and Bran, you guys are my morning cup of tea. Your team rocks. And Junior James here says, poor Africans have Africans, I think, poorly interpret the bill. And some of you trying to answer the question in order to win morning at NTV Mag. To our Facebook page, we update it, like I mentioned earlier. And this is a picture of the interview earlier with Simon and Shiraz. Pound for pound, the miniskirt law. You can see more pictures of her. And we shall now return to Brian at the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop for the HTC moment.
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect. How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you. Down to the last detail, you inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC.
Quietly brilliant and
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect. How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you. Down to the last detail, you inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC. Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect. How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you. Down to the last detail, you inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC.
And we do apologize for that technical hitch. But moving on to Facebook, I'm proud to say some of you are just liking our page. Right now, we have 7,892 likes, up from about 40, up from about 7,800 and I think 50 earlier when we started the show. Thank you so much. And we shall be dancing for those of you who think you have two left feet. That is why Brian is so styled up, I should say. And moving on, someone is saying, Richie, nice suit, Brian. We also have Blair Maz saying, Banange, let's start already. And moving on to some of your messages about the big story that we had earlier. Yes, here. Harassment is wrong, according to Louise. But there's a beauty and respect that accompanies decency. And we have Simon Chigongo saying it's all about the mind, but not the dressing. Men, let the men not molest the women. We have Peter saying the media and the country at large have fallen prey to this government's political trickery. We are delving into the Anti-Pornography Act, if you ask me, a stupid piece of legislation, and we get diverted from the real issues like the South Sudan mission. That was the intention of the government, to divert you and me. Those are the words of Peter Waiswa. We shall now return to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to Brian with the HTC moment.
A very good morning to you, 17 after 8, and we really want to apologize for the technical difficulty we had in sound. But you know, I think people are just excited about today's everyday life. naye tujja mubonereza. We really apologize. And now moving over to your HTC moment. Remember, Everyday Life is powered by the brilliant phone HTC. Quietly brilliant. And you can visit the HTC hub at Forest Mall to get a look at some of the models that are on sale. But I've been having this HTC One Max for a week now. It's quite complex, this phone, and it has taken me this week to finally understand most of the apps on this phone. Now, I want to quickly go through some of the most loved app on the phone. That is the camera. Now, check this out. There are different modes on the camera. There's the Zoe. The Zoe is the normal thing, okay? The night mode, the HDR mode, there's a sweep panorama. Now, with the sweep panorama, this is what really fascinated me. You can get this phone, press the picture button, and then just kindly sweep, you know, gently sweep, kind of pan this camera like this. And when the images finally come together, it's one picture, but it's turning around. It's a circular, it's a 360 degree picture. A sweep panorama, that is one of the photos that you can take. There's also a very interesting, a dual capture. A dual capture. So I can have you on the other side and me on the other side, and both the cameras on the HTC One Max are taking the picture at the same time. So one, I'll capture the image of the camera and my image this side. So that's how it works. And now, one of the other things, I was quite taken aback, and for those of us who appreciate filming, video filming, we understand that full HD footage is quite awesome, right? My producer will agree with me, all the guys here. If you have footage in full HD, you are the best. And this gadget, this simple gadget, films in full HD. You just go to your camera and go to full HD video quality, and yes, you're sorted out. So that is your HTC moment for today, and with the HTC One Max. But we're also giving out the HTC Desire 300. And all you have to do is answer the following simple questions. What time does Fit and Fab air? Question number 2, who is the host of The Big Story? Question number 3, give any 4 topics Everyday Life has discussed in the past 2 weeks. And question number 4, name any 3 models of the HTC phones. You can see the screen over there. The phone, the questions are running. Now you can SMS your answers and name to 6565. Not on Facebook, not on Twitter, but 6565. Coming up, Everyday Life will be featuring ballroom dancing.
Everyday Life is brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
Welcome. Your name, madam?
I'm called Marion.
Marion. And
I'm Baraka.
Baraka. Like Show Baraka? Or?
Yeah, like Show Baraka.
Okay. Okay. Now, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
You did such a phenomenal thing here. But why were you dancing to that song? Is that also... What kind of dance were you doing there?
It's a cha-cha.
Cha-cha?
Cha-cha-cha.
One of the Latin dances called cha-cha.
Cha-cha.
Yeah.
All right. I see the kind of shoes that you're wearing. And every time I watch these competitions on TV, I see weird shoes. What do you have to have those shoes?
These are Ballroom dance shoes, Pro, and you don't necessarily need to have this kind of shoes, but then they would do better, especially for the kind of floors that we use. Usually dance on wooden floors.
Right.
And this will be better. This is leather, or skin, you could say, the sole. It's
Can
not
we
like
just
yours.
have an image of these shoes, because they are quite interesting.
So when you...
Aren't they uncomfortable?
No, they're not. They're more comfortable than yours, by the way, because they stretch.
Oh.
You get it? They look just like yours, but when I slip them in, they stretch, so they can fit literally a couple of feet.
Okay.
Those are
Now,
different sizes.
I want to ask you a question. Why aren't you dressed like me? Because I was very excited this morning, and I went and had to shop my shirt. I last wore a bow tie at my wedding, and I've put it on. And then I saw you in
And then I come like this.
Yes.
All right. That's not a bad attire for ballroom dancing, but depending on what kind of ballroom dance you're going to do.
Okay.
If you're going to do the waltz, or the foxtrot, or the quick step, that would be really good. You get it? But every time people mention ballroom dancing, the first thing that comes to their mind, waltz.
Yes.
And and they think of slipping off the very first moment.
Okay.
Now, ballroom dancing is quite wide. The dance we did earlier on is the cha-cha-cha.
Cha-cha-cha.
Cha-cha-cha falls in the category of Latin ballroom. So when you mention ballroom, you've categorized very many dances.
Okay.
Now, the cha-cha-cha we did is a Latin ballroom dance, and it's a freestyle dance.
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. Then there is this common misconception, like I'm saying, that every time you mention ballroom dancing, the only thing to wear that comes to the person's mind is a suit, a bow tie, or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can go freestyle. You can put on any kind of attire,
especially
if you're going for a social dance event. If you're competing, there are particular costumes.
They are okay.
There are particular costumes.
All right.
For any kind of event, a showcase or what, you could do that. But then if you want to respect it so much to a particular level, you could go bow tie.
Right. Well, if you're just joining us, it's a Friday, and tonight you might be thinking of going out, not dressed like me, but maybe if you have a dinner, you might be thinking of doing that. So please stay locked here, because we're looking at ballroom dancing. Not just, you know, the ball thing, but these guys are just going to take us through some of the different dances and why it's important to do that. There's a rumor that this kind of dance is good therapy for couples.
Awesome. Awesome therapy.
Is there a connection that you get through dance? Because some of us don't know how to dance, and you will end up stepping on the other person.
You know, that's the beauty of it. You get, for example, you come with your wife, you see, and you might be having, let's say, communication issues, or you're looking at a way to start up your marriage or relationship. You don't necessarily have to be married.
Right.
But let's talk about the relationships here. Now, step one, I come, we're dancing, and you probably step on my foot. Let's say the lady steps on your foot, or you step on her foot. You get it? Communication has started. Oh, please don't. You know, and the moment you get to learn the steps, you get to know how to best handle her. You know, there are better ways to communicate that are not necessarily verbal, the non-verbal communication ways. Now,
okay.
Unless
so what are you going to dance now?
We're not going to dance. I want to show you something. There is what we call lead and follow.
Lead and follow.
It's not about emancipation that I'm going to take.
I'm the man.
I'm the man I have to take you. You get it? Now, the guy plays the role of leading. Now, ballroom dancing is literally the whole of life relationships on the dance floor.
Right.
You get it? Now, unless you agree, they can't dance together. You get it? Now, she'll interpret what I'm trying to say.
Hey, banana.
I'm trying to communicate now. You get it? She's understanding. But there is that beauty of connecting, that she only dances with me if she wants to. If she doesn't want, that means there is an issue between us.
Okay.
You get it?
All right.
Unless we've been forced and they're saying they're going to cane us unless we dance.
Right.
Yeah. But the beauty of it is we have to first agree. So that agreeing point is, let me humble myself so that I can dance with you. Let me humble myself so that I can understand you. Let me humble myself so that I can listen to you.
Right.
You get it?
Right.
Big time therapy. You get it? And the best way, it's said that 93% of communication is nonverbal. Yeah. Whoever did the research, but then it's proven.
It's proven.
You get it?
So teach us the first dance.
All right.
Because I also want to, you know, kind of like, you know, do my thing.
Would you get a dance partner right now?
I don't know. Maybe, but.
All right, Marion will be your dance partner.
Okay.
Yeah? So
what are we going to do?
We're going to do the cha-cha-cha, the very dance we showcased earlier on. Okay.
Mebo is here, so really.
Oh, yeah. I'm Mebo.
Yeah. But Mebo, if we kuswala here. But okay.
Okay. I'll stand to the...
I think it would make sense if Mebo dances with you, then I dance with her.
Mebo stands this side.
Things may fall apart here. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, the lady starts with the right back. So it's more like a rock step. It's like a rocking chair. So you go rock, step, and step, step, step.
Okay. What is happening here?
We take it slow. Now this is the lady. We go rock, step, and tap, tap, tap.
Okay.
Let's take it again.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
The lady.
The lady. Step again. We take it several times. We go 2, 3, and cha, cha, cha.
So you step at the front with still with the right. The right is your lead foot, right?
It's the lead for the lady. The guy leads with the
left. Okay.
We go. The lady step again. 1, 2, and cha, cha, cha.
Okay.
So you lock. It's literally the right that's ahead for the lady. The last time the lady step. 2, 3. We go. 2, 3, and cha, cha, cha.
Okay, now the confusing part
now
is
this
here
is the part that
when you do like
people,
this.
yeah? When we go 2 and 3, we go cha, cha, cha.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you lock,
we lock and step.
And step.
Exactly.
All right, let's do this thing, man.
We do this.
Let's
Just
do
that.
this thing.
2, 3, we go. 2, 3, cha, cha, cha. Now,
if you have both left legs.
when you place weight on it, it will be hard to step ahead.
Okay, so just a small...
Yeah, so when you step, lock, you're still straight, then step. It's like the leg that locks pushes you to go ahead.
Okay.
All right. The last time the lady step, we go 2, 3, cha, cha, cha. Exactly. Now the guy's side is literally the shadow of that. Okay?
So it's we do with the other leg.
The opposite. So if I'm with her, where could we stand properly so that the viewers can see us? Now we're here. Exactly. If you could turn slightly so that you don't knock that. Now, the guy starts with the left.
So we are going...
The guy goes forward.
And I start with this.
You start with your right back. The very step we just did is what you're doing, just that. Okay? The guy replaces the lady's foot. 2, 3, and stop, pop, pop.
Oh, okay. When she locks at the front, I lock.
You lock back.
I lock like this. At back.
Exactly.
And
it's
then
still your right that's in front.
Okay.
You get it?
All right.
All right. We go. 2, 3, and cha, cha, cha. Nope.
That's where the twist is. The lock. So what type of dance is this?
This is cha-cha-cha.
This is cha-cha-cha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's do it one more time.
One more time.
One more time.
All right. 2, 3, go. Rock on it. Take your left back and lock in front with the right.
And I lock and then come.
No. You will be doing a different dance there.
So I step back with the right or the left?
All right. Watch my leg. When I go 2, start with your right back. When I go 2, 3, and step, lock, step.
Oh, yes. I lock just
in
at the front.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
it's
I
like
didn't get.
The leg that locks pushes the other.
It's on.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
do
the
this.
whole
Let's
picture.
do this.
All right. 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, we go. Step, 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 lock, step.
See, I tried it. I tried it. All right,
That's
that is the
awesome.
Cha-Cha-Cha. If you're just joining us, today is awesome. We're trying to learn ballroom dancing. We're looking at cha-cha-cha. Cha-cha-cha is kind of complicated. Is there an easier dance that you can also, that's cha-cha-cha. Next dance that you can teach us that is a bit
we could
like-
try the salsa como known to the people, you get. Salsa is one of the most sexy dances we have.
Oh,
and every time, especially in the Latin genre, when a person hears of salsa, the first thing that comes to their mind, we're going to move waist.
We go the waist.
Shoulder rolls and all that, and too much eye contact and stuff like that. It's really fun. So we could take you through the salsa.
Yes,
Yeah,
basic steps. Basics.
Okay, we're here. Start with the ladies' step still. Now, in all these Latin dances, except paso, there's a dance called paso doble. Now, you start with your left back. It's a rock step. They have that rocking pattern whereby you go like a rocking chair. You get? Let's just rock, Rock, rock. Place weight on the right, place weight on the left, place weight on the right, place weight on the left. All right, now, this is, when you place weight on the right, you count a 1. This is a 2, and this is a 3. Let's go again. This is a 1, this is a 2, this is a 3. Again, the ladies step. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Now step in front, a 1, 2, 3, same concept of step, rock, step. Again, forward, left, step, rock, step. And we go. Wrong leg.
This is easy.
It's easy, yeah? Now, the hands, you don't have to take them like a choir master will. Yes. Now, try and keep them stationary just for now. There is a lot of hand movement and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just for starters, if you try to include 3 things at the same time, trust me, you won't get
too much confusion.
Yeah, too much confusion. Rock, step back, rock, step forward.
Okay.
All right. You're starting with the right. Ladies step, yeah? 1, 2, together and forward. 5, 6, 7 and back. 1, 2, 3 forward. 5, 6, 7 back. 1, 2, 3 forward. 5, 6, 7. Last time. 1, 2, 3 and 5, 6, 7.
All right.
Now can we try?
Yes.
With the ladies. Now, same thing. The shadow. You get?
Okay.
You replace the lady's foot.
All
So
right.
when she
I
goes...
think let's do this so that everyone can clearly see this.
All
right.
Now, the guy starts with his left leg to the front, replacing the lady's right. We go. 1, 2, together. Then we go. 5. No.
This is
There's
awesome.
The we go. 1, 2, 3. Then this. 5, 6, 7, 9.
But this one is wiggling her waist, so I'm trying to wiggle while
We're
moving.
doing awesome here.
Okay.
We go. 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7. That's it. That's the salsa basic.
That's the salsa. Quickly, the basic for the waltz.
The waltz.
Because that's where, you know, sometimes you're at weddings and they say, may you have the first dance, and the couple is totally clueless about what's going on.
The waltz.
And they're like,
what exactly
you
are we
know,
going to do?
so
now,
yeah.
the waltz is the mother of all these dances. And that's why every time they mention ballroom dancing, it's the waltz that comes in mind. Because there is that technique of move back that determines all the Latin ballroom and the standard ballroom.
Right.
Okay. As earlier we started with the ladies, still the ladies step. We're here. Now, in more we have a 1, 2, 3 count, but then creating a box. Okay?
Hi.
Okay? Step 1. We go. 1, drag together to the side and here.
So it's just, okay, let's do that again.
Let's go.
One more time.
1, 2, 3. And replace the right leg.
And this.
Okay. Can I slightly stand in front of you so that you see my foot?
Yeah.
Okay. We're here. Now, walls is defined by a rise and fall. So when you go low, up, and that's kind of rise and falling. You get, it's graceful, so it's like you're feeling the person's heartbeat, but then in your hand.
You make it look so easy, man. Okay,
okay.
Let's go.
Let's go with the right leg. We're here. We go low. No, don't start from up.
You don't bounce right away.
No, you don't bounce. It's low, middle, and up.
Oh.
We go. 1, 2, rise, and 3, fall. As you
and then fall as you fall, you fold this leg. Also.
You fold the leg you relieve weight of the leg that's going in front.
Oh, cause then.
Now, this is the one that's flat. So meaning that it's the left that's going in front. So you go 5, 6, 7. Relieve weight of the leg that's going. 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Could take it fast. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2.
You guys are going fast. You guys are going so fast. Okay, at least I know now. You put this leg up and then go. And when you're resting, you put this up and move it forward and up and this.
Yeah. Now, that's for ladies. Don't start doing it as a guy.
That's for the ladies. Dude, I thought you were telling us everything.
No, the guy's part, like earlier, you do the opposite. You replace
it's always the shadow.
Yeah. Let's say I would try with Mario. So, if we're here, let's first walk it without the rise and fall, yeah? It's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Then we try and structure it a little bit. And we go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Same step, but we're taking it around.
Right. Oh, whoa. You know what? You see, we don't have a lot of time, but so what I'm going to do, I'm going to dedicate myself to coming to your dance class and learning how to step. Mabel, we need to do this.
We definitely
need to do this. In a couple of weeks, we'll be back to showcase what we've learned, and you guys will teach us. All right?
Awesome.
Now, please, feel free to do the other thing that you are doing before. The dance that you are giving us earlier.
The cha-cha.
Yeah, DJ, do this thing. Let's do this thing. And leave the experts to it.
All right, we're here.
Doing the samba from Brazil. Stay with us. It's morning at NTV.
Thank you.
Everyday Life was brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
Many generations ago, the warrior Apoena from the Karaway tribe fell in love with young Antonia. When they returned to the Araguaia River with the young white girl carrying their child, they awoke Iaru's hatred. Raised away from the curse, Solano Rangel, the last descendant of Antonia and Apoena, returns to uncover his roots, but he couldn't resist Estella's charm. But she keeps a secret in the past.
Estella.
Her real name is Estrella Karu, and her destiny is to fulfill the curse. Destiny River.
Coming soon on NTV.
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect.
Good morning.
How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you.
Your relationship with your God is the most important thing.
Have a company of people who have got a similar mindset. How do you want people to think, feel, and act after your talk? In other words, what's your objective?
You inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC.
The Ministry of Health, together with the Office of the First Lady and Kampala Capital City Authority, with honor, invite you to a public rally on the elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV in Kampala City. The guest of honor will be the First Lady and EMTCT champion, Mrs. Janet Museveni. The rally will take place this Friday, 28th February 2014 at Kololo Airstrip, starting at 10 a.m. Stand out, participate, and protect. Have an HIV-free baby.
I'm going to blow your mind and I'm going to twist your taste buds. The flavors are already coming together. I can feel them. Very lovely, very appetizing, very healthy. Remember, the way you see it, the way you like it, is the way you get it from my kitchen to your kitchen.
On the next episode of
this time around tukuletedde ebyenjawulo nga mumuli nno omuyimbi Catherine Kusasira alonkinga akulutalo nyini nga tulyako n'akagga embeera gyayisemu
buli muntu aginyonyola bubwe omulala gamba nakoowa mulala gamba nti zeefirawo mulala gamba nti njagalako mulala gamba nti ndayagalako ate omulala nagamba byendabye mbirabye nabyalabye bye mutamanyi
tugenda kukubira omuziki omukadde oyinza okuyita oldies muziki wa zamani wa zakale wa sexy nasikia sauti mzuri sana walilodawa orokutana weekend.
A very good morning to you. Before the break, we were trying some cha-cha, some waltz, and some samba. Mister, why didn't you join us?
I've danced before, by the way, I'm way ahead of all of you. I saw what you're doing.
What's your point?
Exactly.
Guy, are you joking?
I'm not joking.
So why did you come
when
to
I
show
saw
us?
you dancing, it was a bit of mad on the dance. I'm way ahead of all of you, and
But it could be a very good weekend for you because it's the weekend of the Oscars, and I know there's a lot, the dinner, at the outside of what we don't see, there's a lot of dancing there. And you'd be thrown out. You'd be thrown out. But since you're learners, it's a good thing.
But you know what? I've committed myself. I'm going to go and learn how to dance. Yeah. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll be back with Barack, and we shall do this thing with Mabel. It's on.
Yes.
Good morning, Isma.
Good morning.
Well, in the world of sports this morning, two-time national champion Jas Mangat is not in Mbarara. Why is he not in Mbarara?
First of all, I think after going very close to winning the Africa Rally Championship last year, Jas Mangat is going to be very selective of the events he's going to race in this year in order to keep his car and financially and also the adrenaline and the energy to go and compete on two fronts. Not easy to win a national rally title and the African title in the same year. When I look back at Ugandans, Jas Mohanji, when he won the African title in 1999, he had only won the national title a year earlier back in 1998. So I think Jas Mangat is trying to be measured in terms of which races he chooses and which ones he doesn't. And he's opted not to go for the National Rally opener in Mbarara, knowing that probably his car will be well maintained, and by the time the Africa Rally Championship season starts, he'll be raring to go and try to win that.
This is a tactical thing. It's not that he has intended not to be there.
Yeah, it's very tactical, but I think it waters down the competition. Everyone would have to have Jas Mangat, two-time national champion for the past 2 years. And unfortunately, besides Jas Mangat, also the news, I think, coming into the event has been dominated by Ponsiano Rwakataka, who is missing, the winner from last year. Of course, motorsport coming from a point of weakness to a point of strength after the past 2 years of fighting between drivers and the Federation of Motorsport Clubs of Uganda. I thought this would affect the start of the season, but I don't think it is exactly. But I think Jas Mangat opting out should be a good one for all the others to go there. And try to win, especially 3 of the former national champion, Ronald Sebuguzi, two-time winner of the national title by 2007 and 2009, and also Ashraf Ahmed, the doctor, also competing in this one, and then Nasa Mutebi, who has barely driven a rally in the past 2 years, has been at the forefront of fighting FMU. So this could be a good chance for them to get ahead, because I have a feeling that if there are 7 events, Jas Mangat came and drove about 5. He would win almost at least 3 of them. Right. So for all the other drivers, it's about collecting points. By the time Jas Mangat comes into this one, having missed this one, which is 336 kilometers, it should be a good chance for all the other former national champions. And the other guys who think they've developed, John Consta Kansimi, and then John Barrows, who was one of those who had been banned last year for 6 years, but has had his ban lifted, Wycliffe Bukenya. Very good chance for them to go and get points before Jas Mangat comes in. And when he comes in, the stakes will be raised. It will be raised.
Right. Okay.
And in boxing, I just want to ask, it's very popular in Uganda for some strange reason. I don't know if you watched the news yesterday, but there are all these interesting characters whom they were profiling. But anyway, we are talking about Joey Lubega and his chances in South Africa tomorrow. But let's talk about the other Ugandans who, I don't know, is it... What is it about boxing and these people, the Muhumuzas and all the other characters who are like, I'll box you and what?
This guy talks a lot about what? Yeah. Decades.
I think boxing resonates with so many people, the public. I've been to places like, for example, Kaleerwe, places like Bwaise. There's a lot of, it's a bit of a hub of boxing because some of the boxers like Hamza Sempe will come from those kind of areas. And then from places like Naguru, it's a birthplace of Ugandan boxers for over the years. Jackson Asiko was there and so many. So it resonates with so many people. I don't like using the word when I hear on Luganda radio and people are saying Abantu Bawansi, because I feel most of us are Bawansi because we don't take part in decision making in the places we work. But I think it resonates with so many people. And Joey Vegas Lubega is a product of this kind of thing also, because he's come through the amateur ranks and is now professional, has a chance to retain his World Boxing Council 1 belt for the third on the third attempt. We won the first time, did defend it back here at Chadondo, but now I think he faces his toughest fight at the Emperor's Palace tomorrow night, and luckily this is going to be showing on SuperSport 2 against a South African boxer, Rhino Liedenberg, who hasn't lost a fight in 14. When I was looking at the contrast between the two boxers, first of all, Lubega is shorter at 5'9". Rhino Liedenberg is about 6'2", and he has a perfect record. He hasn't lost in 14. Of course, Lubega is much more experienced because he's 32. But that's mainly because he was fighting, I think, in the amateur for too long, and then he turned professional. He didn't have the fights that show that he's 32 as a professional, because he only fought 23 times as a professional. So I think it's his toughest fight. But also, in his toughest fight comes the greatest opportunity Lubega will ever get to stake his claim as one of the best boxers in Africa. I'm not rooting for him to win this one, but for me, even if he went there and competed over the 10 rounds and doesn't get knocked out, and competes and gets himself very close to winning, or probably last the entire distance and loses on points, Lubega, for me, will come back with his head held high. I don't think this is the kind of ideal fight for him if he's going to retain his belt against one of the best boxers in South Africa. I've watched videos of Liebenberg fight. He's as ruthless as any. He gets bloodied but never goes down.
Wow.
So with that kind of attitude, I think Lubega faces one of his toughest fights.
Right. Well, let's wish all the luck. Lubega needs it. Definitely needs it. And moving on to football, the awards are done between KCCA and FUFA, and now KCCA can focus on their tie ahead against the Nkana Red Devils. Do you think that they can bring back a commendable result?
KCCA will be backing themselves, especially after they beat up on El Merrick in the last round by 2-0 when they traveled to Sudan. And they've not lost an away game under George Nsimbe for some time. When he was in charge back in his first spell, 2008-9, they didn't lose to Ferroviario de Maputo, they didn't lose at El Merrick, they didn't lose to Supersport. Okay, eventually they did lose to Bayelsa United in the Confederations Cup. That's after they got knocked out of the Champions League. And then they come back and do the same this time. I think the advancement of KCCA in the past few years has been, in this Champions League, has been about the result they get away from home. And this is a very important game. Against a team they haven't beaten, a team they haven't played in 22 years. But their record is appalling. The last time they played against the Nkana Red Devils, they lost by 6-0 on aggregate. So for me, while Nsimbe is thinking about playing the two strikers, because he's been fascinated about having Herman Waswa and Tony Odu on the pitch at the same time, I would love him to go there and try to defend a little more. He has the defensive abilities, especially Saka Mpima and Habib Kavuma, who don't do so much going forward, the two fullbacks. They could be very helpful, probably shutting out the Zambians first. Because when they are playing at home, they'll go for the early goal, and when they score that early goal, the fans will come into their element, and everyone will be pleased about what Nkana will be doing, and then cases could be in for a hiding. For me, I personally think that Nsimbe has got to look at this as an opportunity where they go to Zambia, make sure even if they lost the game, they lose it 2-1 and they lose it 2-0, and then can come and do their business here. So in that kind of sense, I think KCCA have a very, very, very tough fixture. Nkana was one of the biggest teams in Africa back in the 80s and the early 90s. They have fallen on hard times. Just like Goma here, they came back and won their league last year, Nkana, but that was their first league title, I think, in 17 years, just like Goma here had done in Kenya. So while they're in a renaissance, KCCA too have got to feel like this is an opportunity. They can't go there with any kind of fear. Fear is for us, the journalists and fans. The players and coaches can't be fearing to play a game like this.
Right.
In the Europa League, I'm very happy Tottenham went through yesterday, and Swansea unfortunately are out. But are there any other results that stood out for you?
I think the most outstanding result for me was Red Bull Salzburg. They did a dub over Ajax Amsterdam. Red Bull are not anywhere in the stature of Ajax Amsterdam, but then they beat
That's
up
where
on...
Sekaja used to play.
Yeah, where Sekaja was playing. Sekaja's team, actually. That's the only way you can introduce it to Ugandans. They won the first leg by 3-0, but then when they returned home to us, they won the second by 3-1. So as they go through, they'll be one of the teams to look at. But I'm really impressed by what Tottenham have done to go through, coming from a goal down at home. Emmanuel Adebayo continues to bang in the goal, scored 2 there, and then Christian Eriksen. He's doing well after that tough spell under AVB, because under AVB, Emmanuel Adebayo barely got a kick, barely got a look into the team, and now he's back. Tim Sherwood has pampered him like a kid, and he's looking like the player he once was for us. And I remember that season at Arsenal when he scored 30 goals, and still Arsenal fans didn't appreciate him enough. Now he's playing the way for me he was playing.
Because out of 5, he bagged 1, and that, I think for me that's...
But the numbers at the end of the season are 30 goals, and then anyone in the world would be impressed having 30 goals.
Should have had 100 goals if he was bagging.
Okay, but then
He's
this
doing well, though.
weekend we see Sunderland and Manchester City in a Capital One Cup on Sunday. Do you think this will allow the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool to probably take advantage of that?
First of all, Sunderland for me stand a chance as small as Wigan stood when they played Manchester City.
David and Goliath.
Yeah, David and Goliath. David doesn't win many fights, by the way.
But he wins.
Once.
Once in a blue moon.
Yeah, once in a generation, once in 100 years, David wins a fight. And Sunderland in the same situation where Wigan were. When Wigan went into that FA Cup final last year against Man City, no one gave him a chance. No one gave him a chance in hell. They went there and beat Man City, and that led to Mancini losing his job. Something similar, I think, to Sana, but Sana will be probably in a much better position than Wigan were, because their former stand around in the league, they are playing that well. Though Man City are totally different when Sergio Aguero plays, and Aguero is back fit and who should be on the bench at least. And when Aguero is playing, Man City are a different animal. But while Man City are away trying to win a trophy, and there's been talk that they can win 4, still in the FA Cup, they still have a chance to win the Premier League. They're still in the Champions League, where I think they're out when they go to the Camp Nou. A good chance for the other teams, I think, to make some kind of ground in the league. And luckily for all three, Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool, all the other teams in the top 4, they all have away fixtures. Chelsea have a West London derby against Fulham, which I think won't be an easy one. Should be an easy fixture on any other day. But when there's a title to win and Fulham are fighting for their lives in the league, it's a totally different case. Arsenal travel to Stoke. If this was about 3-4 years ago, when Stoke had just come into the league, this would have been a very hard fixture, because Arsenal just had Stoke get into their heads, and Stoke would just go up and beat up on Arsenal after that Ryan Shawcross challenge that made a lot of headlines a few years ago. Then Liverpool, Southampton, by the way, are the only team that have beaten up on Liverpool at Anfield this season by a 1-0. Liverpool have been brilliant, scintillating at home, something closer. So I think all three have fixers that could be potential banana skins. But all three will be looked at this as an opportunity, knowing that Man City are not playing. Why not go and win your fix and put the pressure on City, who won't be playing in the league for some time?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, right now I think, like you said, it will come down to probably the final 2 or 3 games. That's when we shall decide the winners. And of course, you can catch more of that on Omumuli at 1:30 p.m. Of course, there's talking points like Real Madrid, probably one of the biggest fixtures this season. Real Madrid visiting Atletico at the Vicente Calderon, and that's going to be quite a match. And of course, you'll get updates of course also coming in from Italy at 1:30 with Isma, Omumuli and Alan. And of course, Sports Bar coming to you live from Clubsville at 10:30 p.m. Also a reminder that today at 4 p.m., between 4 p.m. and 6:15, NTV will be broadcasting live an Activate show for young people. And from all over the world, you can tune in at 4 o'clock. It's a live broadcast. You can also join us online, youtube.com/NTVUganda. Before we leave you, your African proverb. Speak softly and carry a big stick. You'll go far.
What's a big stick for in this? I thought the first part of the proverb is very good. You started off well by saying speak softly, which is a good thing. Not the people who shout. I feel for Simon by that when it comes to it. But probably for Simon, he would love to speak softly, but his guests provoke him. And, also the passion. We're all passionate about so many things. If I told you the teams I hate most, for example, I manage to control myself when I'm talking about them. You didn't even imagine. Right. Carry a big stick. What is a big stick for in this one, Bebo?
I really have no idea. Speak softly. I don't know.
I think for me it's like how the Bible talks about you know them by their fruits, but also, you know, not just because you talk a lot, it will literally translate into results. You know, let your whatever you do speak for you. You know, if you're saying I'm going to be this, I'm going to buy a Benz, let's see the Benz. But you don't also have to tell us that when I'm going to buy a Benz and you tell the whole world. Just bring the Benz. You know, and for me, I guess it's about your will and what you have in your heart. If you're determined to go wherever you go, that is the big stick you're carrying. Your dream is your big stick. You don't have to shout about it, but whatever you have as your dream, that is your big stick.
Some philosophy this Friday.
I'm quite representing the costume, you know.
Well, why are the buttons not the same? Some are black, the other.
It's a design because this black kind of matches the black, you know, suit. So I don't know. I last wore the stuff when I was getting married. So I think, yeah. Well, of course, it's very, very hot this morning. And when I use my HTC One Max to see the weather, this phone is just too awesome, guys. You can also check out your weather. It's, let me just pull up the weather here for you.
What's the temperature? Should be about 29?
Well, today is Friday and it's 27.
27.
It's going to be 27 degrees Celsius. And well,
and we're always mourning about 27. I imagine what happens in Qatar and in Khartoum and in Egypt.
In Australia, where it was 45.
45.
Year, so. Well,
Carrie, the thermometers the same.
I guess so. Celsius and Fahrenheit. That's where it would be far. Carry an umbrella or a jacket if you're heading to town or wherever you'll be going. In case it rains, you are ready. From the whole crew here, remember 4 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. we'll be going live with UNICEF on an Activate show for young people, and of course join us whether on your telly or online, youtube.com/NTVUganda. It's going to be an excellent, fantastic weekend. We'll catch you on Monday. And Isma,
I'm going to Hollywood for the Oscars.
Okay, on your telly. All right, bye-bye. Hasta la vista.
NTV, turning on your world. Coming soon on